All your favorite characters are back. Some aren't, but some are. There's Palpatine. We all love him.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Henry,
No.
have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Was that the sequel to Oedipus Rex?
No, see, Oedipus Rex has not been written yet because we are a very long time ago.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget this is in the past.
Yeah, Star Wars is the past.
So weird with the lasers and all that. Yeah. Okay, no, tell me about Darth Plagueis.
Wait, franchise bonus episode.
Right.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody.
Yep, the D-Star Destroyer over here, and the fucking H Planet Killer.
Jesus Christ. Every time. H-Wing Starfighter.
Great
there
stuff.
You go.
Mm-hmm. Wedge Papalis. You liked that one? All your favorites are back, Henry. BB-8. Porgs.
Had to get me when I'm drinking this seltzer. Ouch, that hurt like right in the...
Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
Rose Tico.
Oh, one of the best.
They're all the best.
One of the best. Look, in all seriousness, guys,
in all seriousness, they've created so many great characters for this new series.
It's real good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All of these characters are going to live on. These are going to be names that are going to be in the lexicon. I think there's going to be fashion movements. You know, there was kind of like hipsters in the late 90s are dressing like Han Solo. You're going to get people dressing like Poe Dameron. You're going to get...
You're going to get people dressing like Kerry Russell in that helmet.
You're gonna get a lot of Halloween costumes with General Hux.
Oh my God, General Hux! Could you believe that he was the traitor?
No, that was real.
What a fucking twist that was, man!
And he saw through the end too, huh?
I felt like jumping right out of my pants when that happened.
Yeah, and once he is the traitor, the continuation, of course, of his motivations for being such traitor and being in through the rest of the entire movie as such a key character and not dying, that was cool.
Everyone out there, they could go cosplaying as Greg Grunberg. All they want.
All they want is to dress like Maz Kanata.
Maz Kanata. Oh, what a classic character. Everyone loved her so much in The Force Awakens. We were like, cannot wait to get her back for this one.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Of course, we did get one classic character back who didn't die.
Who?
Lando Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian. He was back. He was saying the things you like him to say. He's flying around.
About this.
Oh, sure. He had a cape.
Well, he spoke for me before the movie really got going, so, yeah. So, little history. Dan and I covered all the Star Wars movies in the end of 2017. We then came back to do a bonus on Solo.
A Star Wars story.
That's right. And when we did our Star Wars coverage, it was actually timed quite well to coincide with The Last Jedi, so we actually didn't end up being a bonus episode.
Could you believe how huge Alden Ehrenreich's career has blown up since Solo, a Star Wars story? That guy is everywhere. I have seen him in umpteen movies. Boy, really snubbed at the Oscars this year, I'll tell you.
I'm going to tell you what, man. On Mindhunter, he was really good. Was
he actually in that?
No. He missed out. He missed the casting call for that. He was too busy in the fighting the Sarlacc pit.
Looks like he's going to be in a Brave New World adaptation on television. It's all going well. All right, Henry, you want to talk about these movies, our history?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, just as a refresher, to the listeners, Henry and I both are fans of the original trilogy or whatever. And I grew up with them, and the prequels were fun for me. Star Wars is just fun. I don't take it too seriously. It's a real nice time every time. At its best, it is one of the best franchises there is. It is a fully realized world, which I appreciate. And when Disney got a hold of this in 20 whatever, I was pumped for these movies. And so far, I've liked. It's been a mixed bag. I liked Force Awakens a lot. I thought Last Jedi was pretty good. I more have liked the Skywalker saga ones. I thought Rogue One was just alright, and I thought Solo was actively bad.
Yeah.
Am I missing any?
No, I think you're good.
Mandalorian's great.
Fuck yeah. So, I mean, to echo Dan's thing, I feel the same way about the original trilogy. I was not a fan of the prequels. However, as I recall, regardless of what we said on the show, although, of course, as we all know, that is gospel, we both thought Revenge of the Sith had a surprisingly pretty good last half hour or so.
I mean, except for, like, Natalie Portman just, like, deciding to die. Like, I'm very sad I will now die.
But I mean, the transformation into Darth Vader and the lava pit saber fight, that shit was pretty cool. But other than that, for me, it's the original trilogy, The Mandalorian, and I loved Rogue One. I think it's probably even better than Return of the Jedi. I loved Rogue One, and I have not been a fan of the Skywalker saga for reasons stated previously, but they'll come up again in this episode, so we'll be able to address that. And Solo, I agree with Dan, actively bad movie. However, I will say I was looking forward to The Force Awakens. I thought it would be cool to see this all.
This one?
No. When I'm talking back to like when we heard this was going to happen.
Well, and we were on Team JJ at the time too.
Absolutely, very key point. And then I was just highly annoyed and disappointed with the tone of where they were going. Kind of.
Right, and I didn't really get that. I felt like Henry was taking this shit too seriously. He wants some kind of weird, gritty war Star Wars. I'm not into it. Give me lasers, give me space battles, give me cute robots. And that's what the franchise has given me up to now.
But then, as you noted, because I did get to listen to a little bit of it, which was helpful, you had said when you watched The Last Jedi, you did really notice what I was talking about in Force Awakens. It doesn't bother you in Force Awakens, but you notice the quippy stuff, the stuff that was
mostly the stuff on that gambling planet. I wasn't into any of that. I think Poe Dameron is the Jar Jar Binks of this trilogy, and no one gets it.
I agree, and I said that from the beginning.
I did too.
You sure?
Yeah, I said he feels under fucking cooked because remember he was supposed to die in the first movie, and Oscar Isaac convinced JJ to let him live.
Yeah.
And that was horrible.
I didn't care for him in any of them, and so
he's an undercooked character. Listen, they created so many new characters, and we have to applaud them for casting them diversely. And, whatever.
What a genuine.
No, I mean, it is genuine, honestly.
They tried.
That's how it should be.
I agree.
But if you actually just take a step back and look beneath the color of some of the characters into whether they have personalities and wants and needs,
doesn't matter, right?
Can you connect to any of them? And really, for me, it comes down to Rey and Kylo Ren. Those are the only two characters I enjoy, and honestly, they'd lost me with Ren by the end of this one.
Yes, I agree with you. For a second I thought you said Rey, and yeah, no, she was the anchor. I think. I mean, if we're
She's
just
the
gonna get
only
right
one
into it,
I think they knew what they were gonna do with.
Yeah.
You know, listen. Before we really get into it, I want to just do like stats or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so this movie, of course, when they originally announced it was going to be directed by Colin Trevorrow, and then after Jurassic World, he made that Book of Henry movie or whatever, and everyone sort of laughed him out of Disney.
Yeah, which wasn't fair because I didn't license my book, and they just fucking took it, which wasn't cool.
Great job. So he retains a story credit on this. But its screenplay credit goes to JJ and Chris Terrio, the dude who wrote Argo, and JJ directed it. And it cost $275 million to make. It's already made over $1 billion. It's a huge hit, and they're gonna keep making Star Wars shit. It's already been nominated for 3 Oscars, and those awards are Score, which is ridiculous, visual effects, and sound editing.
Yeah, those last 2 are fine, but I'm actually with you on.
Oh yeah,
Score.
I saw this in the Dolby Theater, and I could report that the sound editing is pretty crazy.
It's very good. The effects are. I mean, we're miles ahead of George.
Well, they have so much money.
Yeah, exactly. They're really good. But the fucking score. I mean, Jesus. John Williams has written the same score for this movie 9 times now.
It's all reused themes. I mean, I didn't hear anything new, man.
Neither did I.
I got excited a couple times because they used some prequel themes, bro.
I don't know if I caught those. I don't know if I would catch those. What did you catch?
I think I heard like an Amidala theme show up.
Oh, really?
One point. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I would have caught that.
I was like, yes, Padme.
Right.
Show me that belly.
Show
me that belly in the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, is that it for the stats?
Oh, yeah, I guess. So, yeah, JJ ended up making this movie, and, but what was I talking about with Rey? Oh, so what I was going to say is that in the second movie, Last Jedi, Rian Johnson took it in such odd directions that were clearly not what were intended in the first one. And that was interesting, and your mileage may have varied on that choice. But for me, watching this one, like, I didn't know what was happening this entire movie. Like, for me, the whole movie was just fucking chaos. And,
yeah.
and it felt like this was JJ given a remit. Like, there was no artistic intention to, like, a second of this movie.
No, it's a wrap-up.
This entire movie was just, like, a group of men given the remit, like, hey, this is episode 9 of Star Wars. You gotta wrap this baby up. Leia's there, but you don't got Carrie Fisher.
No.
And
very weird. I'm just gonna say, too.
Oh, yeah, it's totally weird.
I can't handle it. She's 3 years now, man. I mean, she's been dead for 3 fucking years. It's not like she just died, and it's like the Philip Seymour Hoffman thing where we're like, oh, geez, right, and then the Hunger Games. Oh, right, he did kind of make some. I mean, she's gone, so it's really bizarre to see that shit. That's just one of many bizarre things in this movie.
Yeah, they could have started it with her, like, she's already dead, everyone's already reeling. Sort of like when John Ritter died and they came back on 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter.
I wonder if they thought about that and so we're like, no, this was already done on 8 Simple Rules. We're Star Wars.
Yeah, JJ was like, bro, we can't rip off 8 Simple Rules. They're going to call us out.
That guy on that little show, he'll call us out.
Oh, HP. What are we talking about? Oh, so what I was gonna say, finally, is that the Rey thing is the only thing in the entire movie that felt like it was wrapping up naturally. Like this was maybe something that JJ considered back when he made Force Awakens, and now he's actually getting to do it.
I think you're right. However, I found it ludicrous his idea, if this was his idea from the beginning, and I believe it was, on her actual origin. I was much happier when I kind of actually didn't, when it was possible that she was just a complete and total orphan.
Yeah, I like that. That was one of the best ideas Rian Johnson came up with for Last Jedi, and it goes back on it, right away in this movie, like moment one, the opening scroll. And by the way, can I just say, the magic is gone for me. Like,
I have to tell you, Dan, I'm really proud of you tonight. You've come a long way. You're sounding like I did with the first two, and oddly enough, this might surprise you. I think it's because this was wrapping up, and I just knew it was it. I didn't get as agitated during this movie as I did.
I wasn't
during Force
agitated.
Awakens and Last Jedi. No. I know you weren't. I just mean like Force Awakens and Last Jedi made me like. Force Awakens, when I saw it, made me angry because I was so disappointed. Last Jedi just made me exhausted, and this one was just kind of more like, all right, this is lovely.
Settle in for lovely. A Star Wars.
Yeah, that's it. I wasn't like, I didn't hate it.
I went to go see this at the Harlem Magic Johnson AMC, and it was early in the morning. And it was in the Dolby Theater. And I'm sitting there. I got a popcorn and a soda.
Yeah.
I went whole hog.
Yeah, I did too when I saw it. I bought a big-ass popcorn, yeah.
And it was like... Oh, you know what? That's not true. I saw Jumanji before this, and then I snuck in. But it was that same morning.
And, redacted.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in the Dolby Theater, and... the George Lucasfilm logo comes up.
Yeah, used to be kind of exciting.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't get a chill. No. And then in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still not feeling this, man. And then the fucking scroll comes up, and I'm into it at first because it's real histrionic. It's one of those ones where it's like, war!
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Or it was the Dead Rise! Wasn't that one?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't remember which one.
The young Pope! In a galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
The young Pope was sort of doing a Force Ghost thing this week.
A Force Ghost?
Yeah. He was sort of hanging around in his non-corporeal form.
It's, wow. Throwing the nice words around, non-corporeal. Yeah, you're right, it was. Good ep, though. I liked it.
Of course. As always.
I liked that crawl in the beginning of that show.
Great, as per usual. So, fucking... and they say, like, hey, Palpatine lives. And I'm like, what? I mean, I knew he was in this movie.
Me too.
But I thought it was, like, going to build up to some sort of, like, resurrection moment.
Right. No.
Where he, like, rises from a Lazarus pit.
No.
But...
just right away.
It's just like, that dude's back. And, we see him, like, right away.
Yeah, he's on life support, literally.
He's old. He's Ian McDiarmid again. And remember all the classic moments you had with him?
They're gone.
Remember Force Lightning? Do it.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, it was a wonderful moment to see the name Emperor Palpatine was alive, because it really made a great impact on everything that was the best part of Return of the Jedi. That just one of the most amazing heel turns in the history of cinema.
I just don't.
Darth Vader turning and killing the Emperor to save his son and the galaxy. But
So what was the point of Snoke? Just to like influence him?
This movie made it sound like two things. This movie made it sound like Snoke could have been a fucking hologram of the Emperor, just distorted.
Oh.
And it made it sound like he was an actual character that the Emperor just manipulated. But as I recall, we don't really ever... Snoke is just kind of not ever really a person of any kind, right? He's sort of just
don't you see Snoke in the that big throne room fight in Last Jedi?
Yeah, but is he speaking of your word there, non-corporeal, is he actually there?
Remember.
Is he actually there?
I haven't watched that since it came out.
Right, me neither. But yeah,
I don't watch Star Wars movies anymore. It's a bummer.
Oh,
I always used to watch Star Wars movies.
I will always watch the ones I like.
But I haven't.
Haven't you? I will. I still will.
Like,
I haven't
after Last Jedi, the only Star Wars movie I've seen is fucking Solo, and I haven't watched one since that.
For the show.
Yeah.
No, I will. I haven't either, but I totally will. I'd watch the original 3 and Rogue One anytime. And The Mandalorian, which I want to get into in terms of why this movie doesn't work too, and your opinions on that, because you enlightened me on something really cool about the Mandalorian. But yeah, so Palpatine, they retcon everything by making him alive.
What's the arc? This is a 9-movie franchise, all right? Let's ignore all the side shit. Let's ignore the EU. Let's ignore the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. It's a 9-movie franchise, and think of it 1 to 9.
Okay.
You've got 1, 2, 3, okay? The galaxy's at peace, right? Everyone's having a real nice time.
Right.
The Jedi are tops in the galaxy.
Yeah.
All right? But then there's a Phantom Menace.
That's right.
And he rises, and he manipulates the government, and a darkness takes over the galaxy. And now it's the bad guys who are in charge, basically.
And it's the beginning of the story of the three main characters: Darth Vader, Emperor, and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Those are the 3 main characters
Of the prequels, sure.
No, I mean like of the Who are the 3 main characters of the Star Wars franchise?
Oh, that's not what I said.
The Emperor, Obi-Wan.
The prequels. You jackass. Those are the characters. The story of those guys.
How dare you? You didn't mention Padme. You didn't mention Sebulba.
I didn't mention Jar Jar Binks.
Or Watto.
Oh, who could forget?
Yeah.
Who could have forget a Watto? I'm in the appearance. I got a tiny wings.
Yeah.
So then you go ahead. I like where you're going with
this. Okay.
Then you go 4, 5, 6. What's that?
Sure, 4, 5, 6. Now, the bad guys have been in charge for like a while at this point, and A New Hope rises in the form of some upstart youngsters that join a rebel crew to try and get everything back going in order. Now, that trilogy of films ends with the bad guys taken down, the Emperor dissolved, and the rebels band together to rebuild the government.
There you go.
Okay?
Done.
All right. So now these movies, there's some more bad guys.
Right. New bad guys. Same story, new bad guys.
But sort of old, like I guess they're neo-Nazis, right? It's sort of like...
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. They want to bring back the tenets of the Emperor, so they call themselves the First Order.
Right, so they do, But then there's other groups of bad guys, and then the bad guy who we defeated, he's been around the whole time still. That was a false ending.
Yeah.
And it's just so nebulous. Like the other movies, like, say what you will about fucking Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but they are structurally sound.
They have a story that they're trying to tell.
They do.
So I didn't particularly care for it, but that's irrelevant. It has a story it's trying to tell.
To me, though, Force Awakens, it did feel like J.J. Abrams had a story to tell within the Star Wars universe. It was very similar to stories we had seen, but it was like his own version of it, which is just what J.J. Abrams does these days. He doesn't create anything new. He just does his own versions of things. Even Super 8, which was a new concept, was just him doing his versions of stupid fucking Rob Reiner movies or whatever.
Star Trek, which I loved, but again,
that's his version of Star Trek.
Right.
So anyway, Last Jedi, I think even more so, has a reason to exist. Say what you will about it, but it does seem like Rian Johnson trying to say something within the universe of Star Wars.
But continuing in the same tone and vein, I think, faithfully.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, this is honestly the first Star Wars movie. I felt this way a little bit with Solo, where it was like, it didn't feel like the idea there went much beyond like a Han Solo prequel. That would be fun.
Right.
This is even worse because they don't even have that loose concept. It's just basically like, we have these characters. Here's your tub of action figures. Take them out one by one. All right. Hey, Maz Jobrani or whatever.
Maz Jobrani. Is that a real character, dude? That'd be great.
I think that's a stand-up comic. What's the name of that character?
Oh, Maz Kanata?
Right. So it's like, you've got all these characters you've dealt with in the past. Here's Rose. You don't have to play with her too much. Don't worry. Here's...
Right. You're the little kid and you really want the action figures, and they're like, honey, Rose is for sale. Do you want Rose? I don't want Rose. But
I'm sorry, honey. They're out of Princess Leia. Do you want Rose?
Well, I want Han Solo from the old ones. We have Poe Dameron.
We have Han Solo to rent for about 5 minutes, but we have Poe Dameron to keep.
Johnny next door has Han Solo. Well, Johnny's dad's better than your dad. All right.
And that's the Alden Ehrenreich version anyway, so let's not go crazy here.
I'm just thinking of something, too, just looking at my little phone here. And something that occurred to me, too, is that I found myself, when I was watching The Rise of Skywalker, if I had felt at the end of Return of the Jedi that my favorite character that made me emotional, and actually I was like, oh, don't let anything happen to that person over everyone else by 1,000 miles, was R2-D2, then there'd be something wrong with those fucking episodes. I'm watching Rise of Skywalker and BB-8 comes on. I'm like, oh shit, the little guy. I hope he gets out all right. Hey, he's great. He's great.
Did you like the new little guy?
I thought he was very unimaginative, but I liked it.
No. I didn't like the new droid guy.
The little cone guy.
I didn't like him.
It was like a piece of garbage they put together with like a spaghetti can, and gave him a line or two, right?
Yeah, it was fine.
That was a Pixar move right there, because that was like, make him real pitiful and sad, and he speaks cute, and he was abused.
Right. But it's as Star Wars as it gets. It's like you need a new cute thing. But I thought the one who was hanging out with Kerry Russell was way cuter. That Babu Frick, I think his name is.
Yeah, you're right, but
the one who was like, yes indeed, or whatever the fuck. He's like a real little guy. And he just like pops his head up and looks around.
I'm watching this fucking movie, and I didn't look too deep into this because I didn't want to read anything. You know, God, I knew there'd be so many great moments. I wanted to experience it myself, and I didn't know Kerry Russell was in it. So,
well, I didn't either. I'm watching this movie.
Well, I didn't know it was her when they showed her.
No, because she's wearing like a huge helmet thing.
Okay, I thought maybe you could tell her eyes. I don't fucking know. I know you love her.
Her voice sounded, I was like, that's an interesting husky voice. And so when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay, so you had to look it up too.
I don't understand this, though. J.J. Abrams discovered Kerry Russell. Kerry Russell has turned into one of the top actresses in like TV history at this point. She's incredible. And JJ keeps like popping her into movies and doing nothing with her.
It's a good point. I mean, he's got all these dumb fucking characters he throws who's her face? He throws in Oscar nominated Laura Dern into The Last Jedi. Couldn't give Kerry Russell.
That was Ryan Johnson.
Okay, but I mean, you know, you couldn't give Kerry Russell something like that to work with, you know?
Where was Laura Dern? Did she die in the last one?
Yes, she sacrificed herself for the greater good of the.
I'm sure we were all moved by that.
Before I went to see Rise of Skywalker, I actually did read the plot summaries of Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
Good for you.
I know that was a little bit of an effort, but I did it. I didn't want to be. I knew I'd be lost, so I just wanted, and there was no way I was going to rewatch them, even though they're both free right now. So I was like, I got to have some footing.
I felt like I remembered them okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remembered characters. I didn't remember specific plot lines. I mean, but you didn't need to, because this one took its own thing completely to another. I mean, it's its own movie. It brings a totally new thing in here with the Emperor. The Luke Skywalker stuff from The Last Jedi is gone. I mean, it's gone.
Well, I mean, they go get that plane from the thing.
Yeah, I know. That was oh man, this
and you
movie
get to see a porg for a second.
This fucking movie was this movie was laying on that stuff scene after scene to the point where I didn't even mind anymore. I was just like, all right, what's next? What are we going to see next?
No.
Jabba's throne?
I fucking hated it.
Sure.
It really annoyed me because I'm watching this movie. There's nothing going on. Like, there's just nothing for me. I'm bored. It's like there's so much happening, but if you really think about it, none of it means anything.
Right.
And so it's just filling time or something. and so I'm sitting there watching it. It's all competent and
it is very competent. I mean, I'll say right now, look, it was just I'm sitting there watching it. I wasn't annoyed or anything. But I wasn't disappointed either, because at this point we have had very different trajectories on these movies. So I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would think for you this movie was very disappointing. I mean, because you really loved Force Awakens and you liked The Last Jedi. So I would think that this was a big disappointment for you.
This has been a downward trajectory.
Yeah.
And this did not feel like a wrap-up to those two movies for me. I understood that they were leaning into the idea that this was the wrap-up for, like, the whole franchise or whatever, but to me, everything felt like fucking Easter eggs.
Yeah, well, it was. It was. Yeah. And
like,
I mean,
roughly half of the screen time was devoted to things where the audience was just meant to go like, oh.
Right. And you bring up a pretty important point that I think some people might even, I mean, I guess a lot of people are thinking about it, but I haven't been, which speaks to the weakness of this movie, is that I have never been thinking about this as the wrap up to the franchise. I just keep thinking about it as the wrap up to the final trilogy.
Right, that's what I wanted it to be.
But I can't. Yeah, but I mean, it wants you to think about these 8 movies that preceded it, but it's nowhere near as all encompassing as it's trying to be, where it would get you to think like, oh yeah, I remember in the Phantom Menace back when. I mean, you're not even thinking about that.
It feels completely unearned every time we like.
Yes, that's the word.
Look at fucking Wicket for a second. I'm like, who's that for? That's just for fucking nerds in the audience to go like, hey, that's Wicket. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Unearned is actually how I feel about this whole final trilogy. But
everything is I mean, if the heroes of Star Wars truly are meant to be Leia, Han, and Luke, and that has to be the case because we are not presented with equivalents in the follow-up. We thought we were going to be, but we're not. Poe Dameron is not a character. Finn is underdeveloped. I still like John Boyega more than you, but I just that character seemed to get more ill-defined as the series went on.
I agree with you, and I remember telling you that in how much I couldn't stand him in Force Awakens, where he has a lot to do. Then I said in Last Jedi, actually, he's gotten a little better at underacting a little bit, and now in this one, I think he's probably the best that he was, but he's given virtually nothing. He's essentially, him and Poe Dameron are just like this weird kind of duo.
Yeah, and that's why the internet wants them to fuck.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. There are people that are like, they want Poe and Finn to get together, and it would be something if Disney did that, but they decided against it. And my theory is it's not that people are, just like being overly woke or being perverted or something. Like they just, people wanted Poe and Finn to get together because they have a lot of screen time together and nothing else to do. So why not fuck? I really think that that's what people are feeling.
And they were really lost with those two guys because neither one of them ends up really, Poe Dameron, it's teased, is going to get Kerry Russell. And so you're kind of like, oh, all right, well, fine. Give him Kerry Russell. And then you think that Boyega is going to get Rey, but then she kisses Adam Driver. And the whole thing is very strange. Like, whereas the Leia, it's so clear, the tension in A New Hope between Leia and Han Solo, they've just got such great chemistry. It's completely effortless. And in this one, they're trying so hard that it looks like they're not trying at all.
They're trying so many different character combinations romantically, and none of them are fitting. No combination of these actors have chemistry with one another.
I agree with you.
Not a single fucking one. It's crazy.
That's why BB-8's still the best character. Yeah.
Honestly, probably Finn and Rose in Last Jedi had the best romantic chemistry of any of them.
Oh boy, yeah.
And they barely got like 2 seconds together in this fucking movie.
Yeah. I mean, since the plot is whatever. I don't even know. I mean, it's a series of fucking MacGuffins. Yeah.
We get a fucking face turn from Kylo Ren where he talks to his dead dad and decides to be Ben Solo again. Even though he's committed genocide, everyone just forgives him immediately.
Well, hey, Darth Vader did the same thing, but it's okay. He was
but Darth Vader immediately sacrifices himself.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like
right.
This dude comes back and he's like, "Hey, FYI, I'm going by my old name Ben again," and Rey is like, "Let's make out."
Hey everybody! Before you start shooting, Ben Solo now. Ben Solo.
Oh wait! Not Kylo Ren. You don't have your weird voice changer.
No. It got beat up. It had these red laser beams in it. I didn't need it anymore. It's Ben Solo. Benny, if you want.
Really? We could call you Benny.
We're all good. We're all good. I'm a friend of mankind.
Well, I'll tell you. Take out that dick. Let me taste that thing.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You Ben Solo, the guy who you killed my planet. You destroyed my planet, my family, all of my friends, and my friend's planet too. Yeah. Supposed to just fucking accept you? Fuck you, Ben.
Let me get this straight. You were mad at your parents, so you started a new group of Nazis, had 1,000 temper tantrums that resulted in planets dying, and now you're asking me to prom? Well, yes, I will say that I will go. I will go with you. Pick me up at 8. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
I didn't like any of the appearances of the older cast members in this.
Rough.
Hey, what's the deal with how come all Star Wars actors got smush noses later in life?
Did they give Leia one?
All their noses seem mashed in.
Oh, Hamill and Ford, it's probably just from, hard living. But I don't know. I didn't notice in Carrie.
Carrie Fisher?
No. I know her. No, I know how she lived. But I didn't notice the nose thing.
Oh, her nose is fucked up.
Oh, is her?
Are you kidding me?
I know Ford downs like, a quart of whiskey a day. I don't know about Hamill, but he does look like a mutt.
They both, every one of these Star Wars people aged like shit. It's like the reverse of the fucking American Pie cast we just talked about.
Yeah,
Mark Hamill wishes he aged like Jason Biggs, I'll tell you.
You know what? Besides the weight gain, though, I thought Billy D looked all right.
He looked fine.
What a waste, though. Jesus Christ. I mean, the other thing that was great about Billy D in the other series was he's like a key character in Empire Strikes Back. They find kind of a side role for him in Jedi, but he's pivotal. And
he destroys the second Death Star, never forget.
That's right. And I mean, in Empire, he's this, very nebulous character. You don't know if he's good or bad.
Yeah, heel or face. Which way is it gonna go?
And so now he's been sitting out for these Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and he fucking comes back. They got Billy D. Williams to come back. He's not dead in real life. They get him back. He punches a Colt 45. And then he leaves, and they don't give him anything to do.
He got Wedge Antilles. He was with that dude.
Jesus Christ.
How about the scene? They'd also had sort of a Care Bears ending, Henry, where all like the legendary Jedi like go to Rey, and they're like, "You can do it. Use all our strength."
Yeah,
and,
their voices.
Yeah, and she's like, "Heart powers activate," and
well, it goes.
Sorry, brother.
I hope you didn't fall again, did you?
I didn't fall that time.
Oh, you reported.
But anyway, fucking, I really hated that scene because I didn't even know what was happening at first. Like, I didn't like detect what was going on.
I did. I was waiting for Ewan McGregor. And
I wasn't waiting for anything. And then I'm just sitting there. I guess I was just bored. Like I wasn't really in it at that particular moment. And I just, in the corner of my ear, I heard Hayden Christensen.
See, I didn't catch him. I read after. I mean, I knew everyone would have been there.
No, I just like heard that dude's voice, and I was like, "What's happening?" And only then did I realize what was going on. And then I heard like Qui-Gon and fucking.
You had real good Dolby, man.
Yeah,
yeah. I heard Liam Neeson.
They were fucking Clone Wars, like cartoon characters.
Dude, it was just fucking bananas. I mean, and you talk about that scene. That scene in certain ways defines not the part of me that dislikes the Abrams' take on the quippy hipster dialogue. But what definitely defines why I dislike the prequels and these movies. Okay, that scene is when this universe, this lived-in universe that we know so well, loses all of the simplicity and mystery that it ever had. This just gives you a pretty good idea. Are those Star Wars issue?
No, these are Christmas issue.
They definitely look like a pilot. Dan's wearing some Christmas glasses, so they're blaring at me right now. I like it. Oh, now they're not blaring. What'd you do? Is there a button that makes them flash and not flash?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they flashed. Flashing, and then they were steady. I like it.
All right, I'm doing visual humor on the podcast.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay, what are we talking about? You were saying something very profound.
Very profound. Just what I didn't care for in the end. So these lived-in worlds, these lived-in universes, which in 4, 5, and 6, and in my opinion, The Mandalorian and Rogue One, are very simple. And in the end of this movie, we see the Emperor, and all of a sudden we cut back. I don't know what you thought of this shot. And I felt like I was in a fucking Harry Potter / Lord of the Rings film when he's got legions of people chanting Gorian chants, and I mean, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
That was the worst moment in the whole movie.
That was so bad.
What is that? Who are they?
I don't know. They're Sith worshiper druid characters? I don't fucking know. It was crazy. I mean,
are they Jango Fett's?
That'd be great if they were. They're all Mandalorians. No, it's like, we get it in Star Wars and Empire. All we do is hear about the Emperor, and then when we meet him, it's just him, and the impact is powerful. Now we're supposed to see this scene where it's like Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, and it's just like all these. It's crazy. I mean, I half expected Christopher Lee to come fucking back. Why didn't they bring him back?
Dooku?
Yeah, and who's that other guy that we like? General Grievous. I want to see his ass back in there, man.
Oh, Master Kenobi.
Yeah.
Henry. Henry, I put it out to the listeners. I knew neither one of us would remember specifics about this movie, so I wanted them to weigh in on what they wanted us to talk about.
Oh, all right.
Shut Up Tim says, how much does Hank love Babu Frick?
I got to pull up a picture of this guy. You said it was Kerry Russell's...
his little guy. It's me!
Yeah, it's funny because I remember the name and I remember her having a companion, but I only remember the cone robot. Babu Frick. Babu Frick toy. All right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I love this guy. I was immediately like, fuck the cone robot. This is where it's at.
This is the guy who deactivates C-3PO's memory.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty cutesy stuff.
Boy, that C-3PO losing his memory storyline really filled time, didn't it?
It was very devastating, right? You'd think that he's been through all of this stuff, and it would be an emotional moment. It's not. Babu Frick, they gave him a Fu Manchu mustache.
Yes, love it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He didn't do it for me, Tim. Not like Baby Yoda or BB-8 or the Porgs.
I disagree. I think this was as good as those.
Babu Frick is as good as Baby Yoda?
No, not you. Baby Yoda is very special.
Okay, thank you.
Evil Chris says, how big of a letdown were the Knights of Ren? Bunch of useless goons. I mean, don't. The Knights of Ren. Come on. They're the foot soldiers.
Come on, Chris.
They're nothing. They're like the fucking putties in Power Rangers.
I didn't even like that. When I heard that in the movie and they were calling them the Knights of Ren, I was just like, oh, man. Wow.
That sounds like some extended universe nonsense. All right. Ryan Rebalkin wants us. What did we think of the last line of the film? Was that Ray Skywalker?
Yeah. What's your name? Ray. What you're Ray Skywalker.
I thought that moment worked for me. I felt that in this horrible overlong mess of a movie, to me, Daisy Ridley proved herself a bright spot.
I agree. Weirdly with you, I agree.
I think oddly this might have been her best performance of the three, despite what she was dealing with.
She's the anchor. I mean, she's always committed. She's interesting to watch. I mean, she's just doing a lot of nonsense, but they put her through the physical gauntlet. She's like fucking reminding me of Noomi Rapace in Prometheus. I mean, she's like constantly sweating and full of dirt. And, and she's got she's very emotive. And yeah, so I guess the significance of that is that she disowns her name, which would be Ray Palpatine, and then just takes the adopted name Skywalker, right? I mean, I don't know.
It worked for me. Daisy Ridley, I look forward to her failed movie career over the next few years, and I can't wait for the TV show she pops up on. That's probably going to be a BBC Netflix co-production.
UK criminal, United Kingdom.
Yeah. Rubalkin says, "What about Finn and Rose's utter uselessness?" Yeah, I mean, in this film, I felt like you could have found some use for them, but that's not something we decided to do.
Look, when Rose turned up, I didn't even. I was like, "Oh yeah, that was the girl that was in the ship for that crazy ride on that planet where they meet Luke in Last Jedi." That's all she was to me. Is she's considered a major character? I mean, I felt bad for the actress because I did read that. I remember she went through a lot of stuff, so that's terrible. But it's not the character. There's nothing there. I mean, there's nothing there. I mean,
yeah, but it did stand out that we really gave her nothing. We gave Greg Grunberg, who's had 2 lines in each of these movies, more to do in this one than her.
Yeah.
That seemed odd, considering she was sort of a featured character in the last movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think as I recall in this one, don't they just essentially tell her to stay on the planet?
Yes, basically.
Yeah, it's like, I want to go too. She's like, no.
And they're like, no, Rose, shut the fuck up. And and then every so often in the movie, she'll pop up with... But then, what if we did... Shut the fuck up, Rose. So, Chewbacca, you go over there.
Hey, listen, Ramblin' Rose, get back over there. Hey, Wookie, just you take charge of everything. Chewbacca, a big character in this movie.
He was around. There was some...
I thought they killed him.
They played the chess thing again. Wasn't that nice to see again?
And we got to have one of my favorite moments in these 3 films, as you already can guess, when we got to comment on it. When Poe Dameron gets to quip. Of course he's better at it. He's 200 years old. Why don't they just get Jay Leno to fucking play Poe Dameron? I mean, who fucking cares? Everything's a one-liner in these fucking movies. Everything.
Poe Dameron's always like, "Excuse me, let me just undercut that. I don't want you to feel any magic."
Oh, no, man. I don't want any menace, like in Force Awakens when he's about to be beheaded and he's like, "Oh wait, do you go first, or should I? Is this part where I'm supposed to be scared?" Literally says that out fucking loud.
Heads up. Ryan wants to talk about the battle of the 2 directors' visions. I mean, yeah, there's clearly something weird there where they're not working on the same series.
Yeah, I mean, Dan sees that more than me, but I definitely feel like this movie felt more like Force Awakens.
Yeah, it felt like a sequel to Force Awakens.
Yeah. I mean, Last Jedi definitely I thought was awful, but had definitely, I guess, its own thing going on. I mean, I don't know what that was about. Was that just creative clashes in producers? I mean, what was going on there? I mean, Why did JJ opt to not? What was going on with that again? I'm sure we talked
Colin
about
Trevorrow was
it.
supposed to do this fucking movie,
Right.
and then they didn't, and
But what about Ryan Johnson? Was he ever asked to do this?
he was never in the running to do this movie.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the reception to Last Jedi was mixed, so people freaked out.
Now he did Knives Out, right? So he's doing all right.
Yeah. Josh Lemur says, what was the deal with the Coliseum full of ghouls?
Right?
That
exactly.
is what they were. They were
That's
ghouls.
what I said. That's a good term.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what they were. Yeah,
Justin
ghouls.
Kyle says, did the writers forget that Finn needed to tell Rey something? That's too specific for me.
Oh, no, I remember what he's talking about. He keeps saying, I have to tell you something. I've got something to tell you. And she's like, okay, later. And then he says it again. And then I don't think that he ever, what was it? That he loves her? Or, what the hell was it? That's what he's referring to. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I vaguely do.
Yeah.
I just never cared for a single second.
Well, I forgot about it till this moment. But yeah, I don't think they ever answer it.
Arnie Pfeiffer's fired up. He says, why would Disney embark on this trilogy without mapping out or connecting any of the major plot points or thinking about how they wanted the characters to develop ahead of time? That seems like a basic step when you know you're going to make all three. Also, why does Abrams think that in hyperdrive, or warp for that matter, it only takes 30 seconds to get anywhere in the galaxy, no matter how close or far? Coruscant to the Outer Rim, 30 seconds. Earth to Vulcan, 30 seconds. Yeah, that's fair.
It is. I never really gave that much thought because they certainly don't talk that much like they do in Star Trek movies about.
As for
distance.
Disney, it is insane that this is how this trilogy turned out. Because, for me, this is okay. We've talked about this a lot, where sequels first started becoming really prevalent. They've always been prevalent with Charlie Chan or Godzilla or whatever. But if you look at sequels from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was a lot of hey, this thing was successful. Let's do the same movie again, slightly different. It was the safest thing possible, and they'd inevitably do slightly less each time. Sequels wouldn't make more money than the original because it was basically reheated goods.
Right.
Whereas now television is so popular that I feel like sequels now are just serialization, where it's the next episode of the TV show, and we're expecting audiences to have seen the last one and the one before that and the one before that. Certainly long-ass shit like Marvel has proven that people are willing to do that.
And I think also, if I may really quick, I feel I have to be cynical here, but especially with Star Wars and not so with Marvel, is that they don't care about doing what... Who asked the question again? Who was it?
Arnie Pfeiffer.
Arnie. I don't think they care about whether it's going to be a quality story or not, because they don't have to, because it's going to make $1 billion.
But
and every Marvel
don't care.
movie is taking still a chance. Every Marvel movie, they don't know that everyone's going to go see Ant-Man. That could flop. Star Wars is guaranteed fucking bank. So what's the motivation to make it amazing? Is there a motivation to make it amazing?
But I don't see any motivation to make it amazing. I just see you can put garbage out to these nerds. As long as it properly connects, they'll be okay with it.
Well, are they not? It's what? So it's not being. It's got what, a 53%. It's not doing a 20 or an 11% on the Rotten Tomato meter. It's not the worst reviewed thing out there. So people,
it's the worst reviewed Star Wars ever.
All of them?
Yeah.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, because the people I've talked to personally, actually, I haven't found one person who didn't like it.
No, because look, for the masses or whatever, it's doing what it says on the tin. It's wrapping up this fucking thing. People, no matter what happens in the movie, they see Harrison Ford again, and they see Carrie Fisher again, and there's Billy D. Williams, and was that Hayden Christensen's voice? Like, they're gonna be like psyched.
You're right. It's just so funny because
hey, there's a Yoda, there's an Ewok.
It's just no, you're right. Yeah, and we saw the Ewoks, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so strange to me because this is actually kind of the definition, right, of a movie where you really are aware of how much of a world exists where you're a Star Wars fan, but you're in no way like the Star Wars nerds. Because I love Star Wars. Like, I love it, but I don't just... is that the barometer? Is that the difference? The separation is that if you are just so into this shit, you just look and love anything that they do. And even if you're highly critical, you're very grateful for all these throwbacks and the callback. I mean, it's just very strange. It's not for me. And I consider myself someone who deeply loves this thing. I don't know.
It's just, I don't like feeling pandered to. Like, yeah, I'm a nerd and I like the Jawas or whatever. Sure. Do I get a charge out of seeing an Ewok? A little. But, like, I'm also, like, not a fucking idiot. Like, that's not gonna make the movie for me. Like, doing something like that, it's like for test audiences, like when they have their thumb on a thing and like they move it to the right when they're enjoying something and they move it to the left when they're not enjoying something.
Ugh,
like this movie was just trying to get your thumb to the right as much as possible, but like it doesn't come together. It's just 2 hours and 22 minutes of vaguely Star Wars feeling nonsense. I never connected to it for one moment. Anytime there was like something that was supposed to feel like an emotional climax, I just felt pandered to and questioned. Like, to me, it was like, hey, you didn't like Last Jedi? Here's Harrison Ford again. You like that guy?
And honestly, this is going to sound at this point a little of a pedantic point to make, but it's just so predictable. I mean, we know that Kylo Ren's going to turn back. We know that's going to happen the whole movie. We know that Rey is going to be tested ultimately and that she's going to beat it and she's going to win.
But the whole movie, I'm also thinking, like, is this really the movie? Like, this is episode 9. Palpatine fucking comes back from the dead suddenly.
Very lazy.
And then everyone beats him and the good guys win. Like, that's the end of this franchise? And so, like, I kept questioning it. Like, there's no way. Like, something's got to happen. And then they beat Palpatine and the good guys won. And I was like, oh, that's the end of the franchise. Yeah. That's all they could come up with.
That's all they come up with, and even by Star Wars logic, it's completely ridiculous because you're thinking about Palpatine's literally. I believe they used to always say, right? Lucas said between episode 3 and between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, they say it. What is there? 30 years in their world has taken place because Kylo Ren's like a grown man and all that. So like 30 years have elapsed, which means the Emperor has had 30 years to plan the ultimate fucking takeover, and he just gets taken down just like he did.
But I mean, they show an armada of ships that have the ability to destroy planets, and then and then the plan is like, well, we're gonna send our ships with like bullets against those ships, and we're gonna have a real Star War. All right,
and fight. The rebels in this are like the Polish greeting the German army in World War II. They're like on horses. And you see this fleet. You're right. I forgot about that fucking part. You see the Emperor's fleet, and it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that looks cool. Like, how are they going to defeat that?
Right. They can't defeat that. Oh, they do. The whole galaxy just decides. What's the line they keep saying? They will come. They'll be here.
And it's one of these bullshit things where J.J. Abrams just has a lot more fucking faith in humanity than I do.
Oh, shit.
Okay, I mean, this is a ridiculous end. This is like fucking. I felt like this was a Star Wars that could have been made like the year after 9/11.
Yes. Yes.
Like showing the strength of the human spirit.
Yeah. The whole world rallies against. Yeah.
Like in fucking Spider-Man 2 on the train car when it's like, you don't mess with a fella New Yorker.
Yeah, very much so. Oh my God. Yeah. Oof. Woo, Nelly.
It's garbage. All right, what do you give this movie?
Mascanada. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, it looks good.
I thought it was better than Solo.
I thought it was better than Solo, and I enjoyed it more than I did The Last Jedi because I hated The Last Jedi so much.
No,
so
I mean, Last Jedi's way better than this. I think, like, for me, this is not the nadir of Star Wars, but the only things it's better than are Solo, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and the Clone Wars cartoon.
All right, I agree with all of that, except I would also throw in Last Jedi.
I wouldn't even come close.
Yeah, well, you feel very differently about that movie. And in Force Awakens, as you know, went up a point on my rewatch. I think I even gave it 3 stars. So, but yeah, this Phantom Menace is worse than this. Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree.
Attack of the Clones is worse than this. I mean, absolutely. But from now on, I mean, if we don't need to really rank them, but you got to watch Star Wars. You got to show somebody Star Wars who's never seen it. What do you show them?
Oh, the first ones. I mean,
You ain't showing them Force Awakens?
If they want more, I would say, like, watch the original trilogy. The first 2 are great. The third one's spotty, but you're going to want to watch it. And then you can skip the prequels altogether. The Disney movies are just... It's really like, if you want more Star Wars, then check them out. But I have such...
It's easy for me. It's real easy for me. I say watch the original trilogy, watch Rogue One, check out The Mandalorian.
This
You're
was
awesome.
so bad.
You're set.
This movie was so bad that it makes me less willing to
recommend
Force Awakens and Last Jedi because they don't lead up to anything. Like they're just like random weird movies at this point.
Yeah, you'd be showing somebody the beginning of something that has no good ending.
Yeah, it's total bullshit. So so I really would say like Star Wars is New Hope, Empire, and Jedi.
Yeah.
That's it.
No Mandalorian there?
No, I love Mandalorian, and to me, the future of Star Wars lies on television. I'm not the first person to come up with this, but partly the reason Mandalorian works so well is I think that Star Wars at its heart is a reference to old serials, and so to do Star Wars as a recurring weekly serial makes a lot of sense to me. And I hope they keep doing it this way. I am not super anxious to really ever see another Star Wars movie again.
I am not at all anxious, and I wasn't anxious after The Force Awakens, and I'm not anxious now. They can be over with now.
I mean, they are still going to make them. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, obviously they will.
But they haven't announced any, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They shit-canned the Game of Thrones guys. They say Rian Johnson's doing a new trilogy, but they haven't announced anything about that yet. There's a couple of untitled Star Wars movies with like release dates now, but we don't know what the fuck that is.
Remember, we also thought there was going to be a bunch of spin-offs, right? But then when Solo tanked so bad, that whole thing got shot.
Well, they were gonna do Obi-Wan as a movie, and now it's being developed as a TV show, and now it's even getting postponed as a TV show. So who the fuck knows?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Might have run its course, which
They
is fine by me.
Listen, Kathleen Kennedy is a very talented producer. I think maybe the cinematic universe thing is out of her hands.
Yeah.
I know that she was suggested to Disney by George Lucas, and I think that probably we just need to like completely let the reins go. Let's hand the Star Wars universe to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, I guess, and
Right. Yeah.
and you can bring on Kevin Feige as a consultant.
Kevin Feige. Does he have anything to do with The Mandalorian, or are you just picking his name out of the hat?
He has not had anything to do with Star Wars yet, but apparently Disney is now forcing him onto them as a consultant.
Put on Drew Goddard, man.
That'd be cool, but also Drew Goddard, I want him to do his own shit. He's
Yeah.
original.
Yeah. He gave me Daredevil.
All right, so 2, who's your MVP?
God damn. Well, I guess it has to be Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, or Babu Frick.
BB-8's my favorite creature / droid in this, so yeah.
All right, who's your LVP?
Ooh. Can I give a character as an idea? Let me
yeah,
explain.
go ahead.
The Emperor coming back.
Oh, just as an idea.
As an idea is the least valuable player in this movie because it fucks up the entire thing. So in that way, whoever's idea that was, but I hate giving JJ something. I wouldn't want to give him an LVP. But...
No, my LVP is a character who has been with us through 3 films now, and now has had his big moment finally in this movie. And I never once was able to care about him for a single moment as a villain, as someone to care about, as whatever the fuck he was supposed to be. General Hux or whatever.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going to say. Okay. Yeah. He's pointless. That heel turn
Who'd you think? It's the face turn.
Face turn, sorry. Yeah, and then he fucking dies right away.
Yeah, he dies immediately after that.
What's the point?
I know.
I just don't want Kylo Ren to be in charge, it's like, what?
Yeah.
No, I thought you were gonna say Kylo Ren because you have been a big fan of that character.
He was just all over the place. He still succeeded for me on the strength of Adam Driver's performance. The character arc was just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. That to me, Hux was the clear worst character, and Poe Dameron is my LVP of the trilogy.
Poe Dameron would definitely be a contender for the LVP of the trilogy and the LVP of this movie. I just so resented the idea of the Emperor coming back. But much love to Ian McDiarmid. God bless him. He still did a good job doing his tube-infested head. Fucking kept alive by... Oh, my Christ. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it was like Forever Young, another J.J. Abrams script.
Wasn't that weird though? Just as a final point, like when I saw him hooked up to all that stuff, I was like, he's a fucking Sith. Couldn't he? Why does he need that for? He needs life support from like biomechanical engines and shit.
Well, so did Darth Vader.
Yeah, but he was at least able to like walk around. He could have a suit on him. This guy's like hovering like 10 feet above the ground. It's very, very strange. I don't get the technology. I don't.
No, it's true. What technology are they up to? I can't tell whether there's good or bad technology in the Star Wars universe.
I feel like sometimes it's bad. I mean, in Empire, Luke gets a new hand pretty quick, so that's good technology. Maybe it's like healthcare. Depends on where you go. The Emperor got bad.
You think the Rebels had such good healthcare they were able to get that hand so fast?
Well, it was sort of in Cloud
They were.
City.
I think
there's black market. Lando had black market hand robots on there.
The Emperor was definitely doing death panels.
Oh, absolutely. And the Emperor's in a cave. He might not be getting the best treatment. That's a good point. And he's old. We don't take care of our old people that well.
That's true too.
The elderly. Remember, Vader was young when he turned into a machine, so they treated him with, wow, he's got a lot of years ahead of him.
That's a great point, Henry.
He's a young buck. We'll put the Empire's money into saving this guy. Give him a good suit.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Do you have a superhero count?
No, I don't.
All right, good. I don't fucking care. Are we done? Is that it?
That's it.
Hey, that's Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. That's what we thought of it. It was pretty bad.